Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hi, good morning, Fikrata.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's your caseworker from Dreamers Together, Fikreta, and on the other end of me, I have my colleague, accredited representative Elizabeth Royas. We are here today and we'll be answering any general AOS questions that you have. Just please keep in mind that if you have any DACA or AP related, to head on over to that group, okay? So, Ellie, what should we start with today? Are you still seeing interviews being conducted?
RFEs?
Interviews.
Interviews? Yes, I am
Yes.
seeing interviews, and I'm also seeing interviews from child to parent. So I know that with the prior administration, many of our cases, if they were being sponsored or petitioned, actually petitioned by their child, they were skipping the whole interview. And even if they were being petitioned by their spouse, they were skipping the interview. Um, but with this new administration, I am having clients that even if they were being petitioned by their child, they do have to do an interview. And mostly everybody that's been petitioned by their spouse is doing an interview with this administration.
Correct. I have maybe seen one or two cases of mine, one or two, or maybe three, be waived, but they were all parent to child cases. I'm sorry, child to parent cases.
Okay.
So just be prepared for your interviews because there's a very big chance that you may get one. You're going to get a notice, and that notice will have a set of instructions. I always say just bring everything that you filed with your packet with you and some additional, and the additional meaning maybe some additional marital evidence. But again, all the originals from the copies that were filed with your AOS packet, and you may add some additional information in, such as the marital evidence, any updated marital evidence that you have. Um, a lot of individuals are asking, well, should I make a copy of my packet? You can if you want, because we have read in certain situations where the officer was missing either the packet or pages of the AOS packet that was submitted.
I just saw someone here on Facebook mention that they went to their interview and the officer didn't even have their packet available. So, very good example of why you want to make sure that you do have a copy, an exact copy of what you submitted, just in case they're missing any pages or missing the whole packet. You have it there.
Yes. And I understand that it is nerve-wracking, for you to attend your interview, but you know what? Sit down, review the packet with your spouse. Okay? Um, you know, Focus on where you've lived, how you met. Just go to our Facebook and look at the questions that are being asked. This way, when you do attend your interview, you're not sitting there all nervous, and you make a mistake on basic questions, okay?
Um,
Let's see.
I was gonna ask or say that for items to bring to your interview, if you've ever been arrested, ever, ever, no matter if you were underage, if it was dismissed, it was expunged, USCIS is gonna want that paperwork. Okay, I've seen a couple of cases here also in the Facebook group where they don't take this paperwork and they get an RFE after they go to their interview because that paperwork is missing. So I know we've been touching base on this a couple of times or over the past few weeks. You have to have that criminal paperwork. Well, it was expunged. You're gonna have to go get it unexpunged. It was dismissed. You're gonna have to show paperwork saying that it was dismissed. Well, I can't find it. Well, you're gonna have to try harder because whenever it comes to SCIS, and if you don't have that paperwork, they're not gonna move forward with your case until you can present what they're asking for. So be very careful about expunging cases. Keep your paperwork if it was dismissed at some point. Um, so you want to make sure that you have all of that information, especially if there was ever an arrest, even if you were underage, because again, you will be asked for it. Okay.
And I also want to, you know, point out that when you do obtain that paperwork, just please make sure it has a clerk certified stamp on it, meaning the copy that the clerk is going to give you, just make sure they put a stamp on it. This way, that is the evidence that you got it directly from that courthouse. You know, it is the original that they're asking for. Again, just make sure it is certified and the clerk will, they'll stamp it before they give it to you, okay? And if you look at it before you leave, just please review it. Make sure it is the arrest that, you know, it is the paperwork pertaining to that arrest, and make sure that the clerk has stamped it. It's very, very important because they do want um, a certified copy from the court, okay? We also run into issues with questions such as, do I upload everything that they're asking for on the interview notice, or do I take it with me? I always say, again, we are reiterating, we are going back to what we just spoke about. Make a copy of your packet and take all the originals of the copies that were submitted with you. You can upload if you'd like, but I would not risk it because, you don't know if the officer is going to actually get a chance to review what you've uploaded. So, you know, the interview notice along with your packet, a copy of your packet, and the originals of everything that was submitted. Have everything ready and good to go with you, okay? Also,
Let's
I have been seeing a lot of cases where people are getting green card approvals before they are getting approved for their I-765 or their I-131. What happens in these cases is once you are approved for your green card for your I-485, once that application is approved for your green card, the I-765 and the I-131, what USCIS does is they typically go in and they terminate those. After they terminate them, there's really nothing you can do. So you cannot ask for a refund. They will not refund you. Um, you know, basically the only thing to do is just basically let it go, okay? Accept the fact that USCIS has terminated the I-765 and the I-131 based on the fact that you have a green card. You are approved for a green card. That is great news. Don't go asking them, writing them letters for a refund on the I-765 and the I-131. You don't want to open the can of worms. You know what? Just be happy you have a green card approval and just let those stand as they are terminated, okay? Um, if you have an interview coming up for your green card and you're like, well, I don't want the permission to travel or the permission to work anyway because I have my green card interview coming up. You cannot ask the officer for a refund. Again, you do not want to open up a can of worms. Just let those, stand as they are, and with time they will be terminated. Just be happy you got to your green card interview and just be happy you got that I-485 green card approval. Just let them terminate the I-131 and the I-765. Please don't go asking for refunds. They're not going to issue a refund. I could tell you, and you don't want to, no, you just be
you don't want
happy
to
you
make
got to
them
that
upset
interview.
at the green card interview
Yes.
either.
Yes. Just
Just let it
focus
go.
on your green card interview and just let the rest go. And again, when you get that green card, don't be upset to the fact that they terminated your I-765 and your I-131. Just let that go as well because you got this far, okay?
Also, their website does explicitly state that there are no refunds given or issued. Whatever the outcome is, they've done their job. May not happy with the job that they've done, but at the end of the day, to them, they've completed their job. They're giving you that green card approval. They're not going to refund you the I-765. They're not going to refund you the I-131. We can be all mad all we want to about it. I wouldn't make an officer upset at a green card
No,
interview asking for my money back. It's just part of the process. They're just going to keep your
correct.
money.
I
They've
mean,
already done their job.
listen, I have plenty of family members and friends that are currently waiting for an interview, and some of them have been waiting over a year now, okay? And I'm sure that the fact that they're going to terminate their permission to work and their permission to travel based on the fact that they got their green card is not going to bother them. It should definitely, I understand it's money, you feel like it's going down the drain, but let me tell you, right now is not the time to argue with USCIS in terms of refunding because they clearly state on their website they are not going to. Okay, so let's get into some questions, guys. Let's see. Hi, Maria. How much is AOS? Um, so you can go onto the Dreamers Together website and you could check out, how much the preps are, how much the packet reviews run for. And again, it depends on the case because there are some cases that require more work, such as 245I cases. So every case is different, but you can go onto the Dreamers Together website and you can check out the packet prices for the reviews and the preps. Yendi. Hello, Yendi. Hi, ladies. I'm going to be doing co-sponsoring with my husband. He's my sponsor. Do I need to fill out another form for my income or do I put my info on his form? So basically, Yendi, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to be combining incomes with your spouse, correct? If you are combining incomes with your spouse, you are not co-sponsoring. You're just combining incomes with your spouse on the I-864 that your petitioning spouse will be submitting on your behalf. Okay. If you are taking the route that I'm explaining to you, you are not co-sponsoring. You are simply, you know, you are simply combining income with your spouse to show USCIS that there is enough income to sponsor you. Okay. You do not have to fill out another I-864. You just combine your income with your spouse's, and your spouse is the petitioner. Your spouse says I-864. So you do not have to fill out another form because you are not a joint sponsor. You are simply combining incomes with your petitioning spouse, which requires I-864 coming from your petitioning spouse. You would just be adding your information on that form. All right, Maria Salinas, I think.
Maria says, I'm in Texas and I want to apply. Should I wait till I love out? Maybe leave
Leave,
out?
maybe.
Or can I apply now? What exactly for, Maria? Apply for AOS? So technically, you cannot apply for the I-485. Not technically, you cannot apply for the I-485 if you do not have a legal entry. You can do the I-130, but I don't recommend you doing the I-130 and starting before your legal entry, before you have your legal entry. I've seen most of my cases, and I don't know if this is the case for UP Credit, but most of my cases that were already doing consular process that already had the I-130 and then did advanced parole, and then we only filed the I-485. Their cases, from what I've noticed, is those cases are taking longer to have an
The
interview set
standalones,
up versus, yep, the standalones versus the cases where you already filed the I-130 and the
the
I-485
concurrence.
together, concurrence, right? So I don't
Mhm.
recommend you starting the I-130. It's not going to make your case go any faster. An
It's not.
I-130 on its own takes about 12 to 17 months. Could be more for approval. You don't have to wait for it to be approved to then submit the I-485. But those they delay more than if you were just to wait, get your legal entry, come back, then do I-130 and I-485 together. But that's just my personal preference as an accredited rep. I don't like to do it. But if you want to, you can, but it's not really going to help.
Ellie, you're right. I mean, Maria, whatever your preference is, whether you want to file the I-130, get that legal entry, and then file the rest of the packet once you get that legal entry, or, get your legal entry, which is your golden ticket, which is what we're focusing on right now with everyone. Get your legal entry and just file the whole packet concurrently. Because we have some cases where, they did file originally standalone and, they got their legal entry and then they came back and filed the rest of the packet. Those cases are taking a while as well, the standalones. I mean, even after they're attending their interviews, they've been waiting for months. So really it's not going to speed up the process. Whatever you decide to do is totally up to you. Whether you want to file the I-130 now, get your legal entry and then file the rest of the packet, that's fine. But as Ellie said, it's not going to speed up the process. I would definitely focus on getting that legal entry and then pursuing AOS. But again, what you would like to do is up to you, and we are here whether you want to pursue standalone and then get your legal entry or get your legal entry and then just pursue the whole concurrent packet.
Also, something that you said, Fee, is about cases being approved months after the interview. Um, I
Yeah,
also tell this to my clients. You can go to the interview and they can tell you, hey, you're approved on the spot. And you're not approved on the spot because once you leave that office,
correct.
the website still does not show that it's approved. For example, I had a case that her interview, I believe, was in June or July of this year, and they just got the approval for their green card for the I-485. It was months, 5 or 6 months after they originally went to the interview.
Interview.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, don't get discouraged. And again, we can try to reach out to USCIS and be like, hey, what's going on with this case? I have cases that they've been to interviews and we reach out to USCIS and USCIS is like, don't contact us until 2027. That's all we can do at
Yeah.
this point. We've done everything we can do. Timeframes are out of our scope. There is nothing that I can do as a caseworker at this point for USCIS to approve your case. I've already done my job. I've submitted your forms. USCIS has them. USCIS has issued an interview. Now it's basically in USCIS's hands to approve you. How fast before they approve you? I wish they'd approve you on the spot, but they just are taking their sweet time. So if anybody, don't get discouraged. If anybody goes to their green card interview and they don't get approved on the spot, please do not get discouraged. This is just how it is with USCIS. We've waited already long
Yeah.
years for us to get to this point. Let's just wait a few more months. So again, just don't get discouraged.
Yes, and we have to also keep in mind that this administration is also issuing new orders, which is going to take the officers a lot longer to get to cases. We are kind of concerned that it may slow things down a little, so just please keep that in mind as well, okay?
Hmm. Patience. Patience, everybody.
Yes.
We're gonna get a green card. We
Especially,
don't know how long it's gonna take, but we're gonna get a green card, okay?
especially right now. And you know what? We are still getting, approvals.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
haven't had one
we have
issue.
to be abundance with the patients right now. It's very, very important, okay?
I know
Okay.
I say this humbly, as humble as I can say it, but I've not had one issue with one case. The only issue that we have is USCIS taking their sweet time. But as far as a representative, if you go through and ask my clients, every single client has gotten approved as long as again they've given us the correct information and they don't withhold any information whenever we're doing the initial consultations. We can only
Stations.
complete the cases based on what we know. So if you're being truthful, if you've been honest with us and we prepare this packet, we take on your case, you're going to get a green card. Just bear with us, be patient. We do the work, but also it has to do a lot with USCIS. So I
Yes,
say
we
that
have
as humbly
actually
as I
been
can.
very successful. Yes.
Yeah,
No, you know
very
what, Ellie, and
successful.
I'm glad that you stated that because we have been very successful. But again, it's all based on the information you provide to us during these AOS consultations. It is very, very important. And again, sometimes our clients forget to mention that, they may have had arrests when they were a teenager. Well, you know what? Now we are circling back because guess what? We need that disposition of that arrest. I will not release a packet to you without that disposition to that arrest, okay? Because you will run into issues. And we have run into these issues where, we've had a client maybe forget to mention, okay, something of the past. Well, now we circle back and we'll let them know, well, now you need to go to the courthouse and you need to get a certified copy of that disposition. And we have not had any issues, okay? We don't guarantee green cards, but we have been pretty successful. And just because you have an arrest, it does not mean that your case will not be successful. And we need to find out why, and we need to find out the outcome. And if we can help you, we'll let you know. If not, we will refer you out to one of our attorneys. Okay. But it's very, very important when we are having these AOS consultations with you for you to kind of recollect on your memory and let us know if you've ever had any issues with CBP or if have ever had any arrests. Okay. Whether it be
Hmm.
with CBP or your local. Okay. Carlos, any time frame for the I-45 approvals? I sent mine in August. Right now you have to give yourself at least 6 months to a year, okay? Maybe even a little more than that. It doesn't mean that your case doesn't go past 12 months. You just have to give yourself that time frame, okay? Um, for the most part, our cases we've been successful where we've gotten, you know, quite a few approvals before their 1 year, but I still have maybe two or three cases in here over a year. So you have to give yourself at least 6 months to a year. Okay. Roxana. Hello, Roxana. Hi. With everything going on with DACA, we did my husband's DACA renewal September 16th and nothing yet. Are they delaying renewals here in Texas? Would you like to
Um,
answer that one?
yeah, so September was only 3 months ago. 3 months ago is very pretty normal. We are seeing that on average it is 5 to 8 months, which is the main reason why we strongly recommend that everybody renews at least 6 months in advance because right now they are taking again longer than usual to approve DACA renewals. And we also have had a few cases that get approved a few days after, but unfortunately, that's not everybody's case. So September, October, November, September, October, November, December. So you're only 3 months in right now, which is very, very, very normal. USCIS mentions that they have 105 days to make a decision on your case. After 105 days, you can go ahead and start submitting an out of normal processing time. The only thing about the out of normal processing time is that sometimes you can do it on the system and it will allow your request to go through. And sometimes the system will continue to give you a message that says that you're still within normal processing time. Now, keep in mind that all DACA renewals are processed at the Nebraska Processing Center, Service Center. No matter where you send your DACA renewal or where that receipt comes from, they're all being adjudicated by the Nebraska Processing or the Nebraska Service Center, NSC. Um, you can reach out to your congressperson. You can do it out of normal processing time. You can have your HR write you a letter. There's a couple of things that you can do to try to see if they can move any faster. But again, average, it's going to be about 5 to 8 months. That's just average. Good luck. Let's see. We have Rayo. Dice Rayo, buenos días,
Hi,
Eli y
Dayo.
compañera. She said, good morning. Yo tenía en vivos que no me conectaba, pero aquí estoy presente para aprender algo nuevo. Que tengan un bonito y bendecido día, las dos. She says she hopes we have a very good and blessed day.
Thank you. You as well. Okay. Ipanda, what happens if someone got denied at a green card appointment? Okay, you have to elaborate on this a little more. And, um, again, we can't give you information on this. You have to elaborate on it a little more. What do you mean by that? Is it what happens if your green card gets denied at a interview? Exactly what are you talking about? So if you can elaborate a little more on that, Ipanda.
Do you have any type of status? That's also an important thing to note is if
Mm-hmm.
you have any type of status. If you don't have any type of status and you're unlawfully here in the US, there was actually a memo that came out earlier this year that says that USCIS will issue notice of intents to deny if your green card
Yes,
application is
gets
denied.
denied.
Notice of intent to appear. Okay, NTAs. That's what the memo says. So if you have DACA, you should be okay. That's a should be. Okay. Now we know that USCIS is not playing by the rules. They're not even respecting half of their own laws at this point. So generally speaking, you should be okay if you have DACA. If you don't have DACA and you're going to be filing for adjustment of status, this is a case that you may want to consider seeking legal help, not necessarily Dreamers Together, okay? You may want to go to an attorney if that's what's best for you because if your green card gets denied and you have no type of legal status, why was it denied? Is it something you can fight? Or was it because the application was filled out incorrectly and will you be able to fight it or will they really issue a notice of intent to appear and try to put you in removal proceedings? So kind of just elaborating a little bit on that. Um, but again, like Vicreta says, we do need some more information.
Yes, and please keep in mind that, you know, um, this is very, very important for those of you that don't have DACA and that are, God forbid, put in some type of removal. Just please seek, you know, legal help. Please seek a lawyer because there is a law called cancellation or removal that you may fall under. Okay, cancellation of removal typically refers to an individual if they've been here 10 years or more, and if you qualify under cancellation or removal, you can ask for that removal to be canceled. But again, that's a whole nother. It's a whole nother section that I'm talking about, just please, if you have an NTA or notice to appear, just please, reach out to an attorney because you may qualify for cancellation or removal. It depends on the facts of your case as well. Okay. All
And with
right.
that, you want
So
to seek an attorney. You don't want to do cancellation or removal on your own.
absolutely
You want
not.
an
I
attorney
always
for that.
say any NTAs, if you're ever put in removal proceedings or anything like that, just please seek an attorney because there is a law that can maybe cover you under cancellation or removal if you've been here 10 years or more. But again, that is something that you would do with an attorney. Don't ever try to do that by yourself.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Let's see. All right, Yandy. Yeah, I kind of figured that you wanted to combine with your spouse, but I cannot give you an answer to your numbers because, I don't want you to make a mistake. But you can come. You would combine your income with your spouse's, and then you would also have to show some paperwork for that income of yours as well. Um, Basically, you're still going to have to. The petitioner is your husband, and you're still going to have to in those boxes the total income lines for 24, 23, and 22, you would still have to use his taxes, okay? Now, the good news is with the new I-864, you don't have to submit all 3 years or report all 3 years. He would just have to report his most recent. Whatever the total income line is on his 2024 taxes will be reported on those forms. If you like, just get the whole dated with submit to us to help you review it. Or if you would like to meet with us during a Q&A session, we can help you by looking over those forms as well, okay? Frank, can getting food stamps for my kids affect me as a DECA recipient whenever I apply for citizenship or residency? No, if they were for your, um, s- you know, U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident kids, they will not affect you. Also, I don't know if this will maybe kind of help you guys. If you go onto the USCIS.gov website and you type in I-864, okay? Um, and that page that it takes you to, it will explain, let's see. So you go into USCIS.gov and in the search our site box, you type in I-864. And it'll take you to the page where they have the affidavit of support I-864 form. And let's see. I just want to explain a little more about this because I know people always ask. You go into the instructions, it'll actually let you know what's considered public means tested benefits, okay? Let's see. Okay, so basically, if you hop onto the USCIS website and you go into I-864, um, that's the page where the forms documents are located. Um, it will actually speak about public means tested benefits, okay?
There has been a new
Okay.
proposal, but it hasn't gone in effect yet. And that proposal, which has not gone into effect, does state that if anyone in the household has ever received, even if they were U.S. citizen children, but that's just a proposal, okay? So I think that's why there's a lot of confusion of that. But as of right now, it's still not public, means it's not a public benefit if your child is a U.S. citizen. But this is USCIS and immigration, and just everything is changing right now. So you just want to make sure that you stay on top of
Yes.
it's a
Even
lot
if
changing.
you were to go into I-864P, okay? Right under I-864P, go into the USCIS.gov website, type in I-864P. It'll take you to their page. You can scroll down and it says means tested public benefits, okay? And it lets federal means tested public benefits include food stamps, Medicaid, supplemental SSI. TANF, and State Child Health Insurance Program as CHIP. Okay. Those are the federal means tested benefits. Okay. And then it says the state means tested public benefits. It basically is letting you know that a state determines its programs and the definition, and then it lets you know programs not included. The following federal and state programs are not included as means tested benefits. Now, I'm getting this off of the USCIS website, but as Ellie says, read up on it and it may change. We don't know. The following federal and state programs are not included as means tested benefits, and they include emergency Medicaid, short term non cash emergency relief, services provided under the National School Lunch and Child Nutrition Acts, immunization and testing and treatment for communicable diseases, student assisting under the Higher Education Act and the Public Health Service Act. Students assistance. Certain forms of foster care or adoption assistance under the Social Security Act, Head Start programs, mean tested programs under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and Job Training Partnership Act programs. Again, the following federal and state programs are not included as means tested benefits. The ones I just explained to you. Okay, now, as Ellie said, this can change, but you can keep up to this by reading, go into the USCIS website and read, okay? And I just got all that information. I just went into the USCIS website and I just read that off of their page for you, okay? Those are the items that they, as of right now, today, we don't know if this is going to change tomorrow, but as of today, they don't consider those means tested benefits, okay? Public means tested benefits. Anything you'd like to add to that, Ellie, before we go to our next question?
No.
Yeah. I always say, listen, get your resources from the USCIS page. Go in there, type in your question, and information may pop up and help you, okay? Fabiola, can you guys recommend an attorney in Charlotte, North Carolina? We have a whole list of vetted attorneys in our AOS Facebook group, and most of them work out of all. They're licensed in all 50 states. And if you go into our AOS Facebook group, you can literally just type in attorneys and the whole list will pop up. Or you can also ask the questions and we can provide the list directly to you. We
What
can
type
provide the
of
link.
what type of service are you looking for, Fabiola?
Mm-hmm. Hey Panda, I have a 2-year green card right now. What are some things I need to show as proof, like pictures, joint taxes, joint accounts? Okay, so basically you have the 2-year conditional green card, and now you have to remove those conditions on that green card. And in order for you to qualify to remove those conditions on that green card and get the 10-year green card, you would have to show ongoing marital evidence. I always say, show them marital evidence after you have received your conditional green card, utilities, bank accounts, credit card statements, joint married filing jointly, tax returns. So you have to build your case and you have to show them evidence, when you're submitting that I-755, that your marriage is ongoing. And again, I would say a sufficient amount of marital evidence after that conditional green card was issued to you. What do you think, Ellie?
Mm-hmm. From the day that that green card was approved to now, whenever you submit
Yep.
that removal of conditions. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have enough marital evidence, reach out to, family, friends, your priest. If you know anyone else that has a professional job, and have them write affidavits in support of the marriage and have them notarize it.
Dhruv Patel. Can one do AP with an open in absentia removal order? We've done a couple. We've done a couple cases, and generally speaking, you should be fine to do the advanced pro even with the removal order.
Fabiola, Go ahead, Ellie.
There is an attorney. Her name is Raquel. You will find her on TikTok, and we have done some lives with her in the past. I'm not sure what her let me see. Let me tell you what her handle is, but she is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. Sure. I think it just says Abogada Raquel. Yeah, if you just go on TikTok and put in Abogada Raquel, she is actually, I believe, in the Charlotte, NC area. Um, so I would reach out to her. She's a very good attorney, very well known attorney in this area. Reach out to her if for some reason that doesn't work out. You can always reach out to one of the attorneys also that we do have vetted in the Facebook group.
Wish you the best of luck with that, Fabiola.
Raquel Martinez, I think is her name. hmm I think just a few more minutes, Fikreta. Oh, you know what? We were forgetting to talk about the 5 years to 18 months.
Naturalization? Oh,
No,
okay,
no,
yes.
yes. So,
The
if
employment authorization documents that are issued to you while your green card is pending.
yes, yes, I was about to
Okay.
forget that one. I know we had talked about that one this morning. Um, if you apply for your adjustment of status, and with this adjustment of status, you have filed an I-765, which was for employment. While you're waiting for your green card to be approved, they could approve this I-765. We were seeing they were approving them a few years back. It was 2 years. They were valid for 2 years. Then they extended them to 5 years because there was such a backlog with immigration processes. So they extended it to 5 years. Well, now they've announced again that they're going now to 18 months. So if your employment authorization card that you applied under adjustment of status gets approved on or after December 5th of 2025, it's only going to be valid for 18 months, okay? On or after December 5th for 18 months only. It's not retroactive. If you already have a 5-year work permit, they're not going to cancel it as of right now. There hasn't been any saying in them canceling it. But if your I-765 gets approved on or after, this is with only adjustment of status, okay? This does not apply to that guy. It does apply to a couple other categories, but right now we're only focused on adjustment of status because that's kind of, what we're talking about right now. But let me go back and pull the whole list up. Do you have the whole list, Picard, of which all I-765 is impacted?
I am looking at it right now. But you're more because my system's running a little slow today. You're welcome to go in and look as well. But I do want to you know point out a few facts that in between 22 and you know and 25, the EDs did run for about 5 years. Okay, and effective December 5th, 2025, their validity period may be 18 months. Okay, and that sucks because it could be both for initial and renewal of EDs tied to pending AOS cases. Okay.
hmm So it's going to be 18 months to refugees, asylees, people granted withholding of removal, people with a pending asylum
Mhm.
or withholding case, people with a pending adjustment of status under INA 245. Now that's 245, 245, not 245I, okay? Everybody that's adjusting, if they have a legal entry and they're in the US and they're adjusting, it applies to everybody, okay? There was a lot of confusion on that. People with pending applications for suspension of deportation, cancellation of removal, or NACARA, NACRA. So yeah, on or after December 5, 2025. So if your EAD gets approved today or after today, it's only going to be for 18 months if this is under the adjustment of status.
And we also, let's see here, we have a couple of questions. So basically, Dhruv has a question. Have you heard of any successful cases via Calderon settlement? If so, what was the wait time? Um, so basically, I can let you know a few facts on this, and one of them is that the EADs given to you under Calderon versus USCIS litigation, they are also going to go back down to 18 months. So those are no longer going to be validated for 5 years. But other than that, I cannot provide you with any more information on that settlement at this time. Let's see. All right, let's see. Ipanda, when can I start the process of the removal for conditions? Green card, mine expires January of 2027. And do I need to go with the same attorney, the one who helped me get the 2-year green card, or can I get another attorney? Okay, so you can file for removal conditions 90 days before your green card, before your conditional green card expiration date, okay? And you do not have to go back to the same attorney that helps you obtain that conditional green card. You can go to another attorney or you can do it yourself. So you can also reach out to us for a consultation as well, okay?
Just a little something on that fee credit is 90 days if you're still married and if you're going to be proven if you're still married to your spouse also. Okay, so
Correct.
there's a big misconception is you do have to wait 90 days, but if the marriage has already ended, and I know Panda this is not your case because I think that you said you were doing it jointly, but for anybody else watching, if your marriage ended for whatever reason it ended, but it was entered in a true and honest bona fide marriage, but the marriage it didn't, it ended before the 2-year green card was set to expire. You don't have to wait the 90 days. You can do it as soon as you're set divorced. You have to have that divorce decree.
Yes, and you also have to prove to USCIS that that marriage was entered in good faith and it was no fault of your own.
Hmm.
So you know, be careful how you proceed with those I-751s. If you proceed in that route, if you are divorced and now you want to show USCIS that marriage was entered in good faith, because you don't want to get, caught with fraud or anything like that. So again, as Ali said, you do not have to wait the 2 years if you are divorced. Make sure you have that divorce decree and the evidence to show USCIS that marriage was entered in good faith. Um, and again, you have to be careful how you prep those packets. I would always say, at
Hmm.
least right now, go to an attorney and make sure you have at least the right paperwork if you do this on your own.
Yep.
Okay,
There's a
so
lot of
um,
Now, I was just gonna say when it comes to immigration, a lot of there's not a all it's not a one size fits all type of
no,
situation. So just kind of to reiterate, whenever we do these general lives, it's just to provide general information to point you in the right
basic.
direction. Oh, you need an
Mhm,
attorney? Okay, go here. You need to do this? Okay, do that. It's not by all means, it's not legal advice. Yes, we can provide legal advice one on one when we sit down, talk about your case, have a what's the best course of action for your specific case, we can do that. But for the lives, you also want to take it as general information, be like, oh, okay, well, now I know I have to go look for this and do some more
mhm.
research. But please remember,
Yes.
if you do need an attorney, invest in attorney. Some cases would definitely need an attorney. Some cases we don't recommend you doing it yourself, DIYing it, because it can backfire. And right now there are a couple of things that immigration is saying. If your green card gets denied, they could have notice of intent to deny if there's nothing else protecting you. And there's just a lot of things that are going on in the background with immigration, unfortunately, right now. So we want what's best for everybody. Again, if you need an attorney, by all means, please seek an attorney. It doesn't have to be vetted by us. If you find an attorney you can trust, please do make sure that you are getting that legal advice.
Yes. Um, okay, and before we go, there is something Ellie and I wanted to touch base on, and we're just going to speak about it for a few minutes, okay? In regards to those of you that um, you have received a green card through your child, okay? Your green card application was approved through your child. But on the plus side, you have been married to a US citizen for 3 years, and that US citizen has been a US citizen for 3 years. You do not have to wait the 5 years. Even though you received a green card through your child, if you have been married to your US citizen spouse for 3 years, and that US citizen spouse has been a US citizen for 3 years, guess what? You can go ahead and file the N-400 naturalization process through your spouse. Ali, would you like to elaborate on that a little more?
Um, I do more better with like an example. So
Mhm,
let's say we're gonna use dad as an example, okay?
mhm,
Let's say child petitions for dad, right? And dad gets his green card for 5 years. It's valid. I'm sorry, not 5 years. It's valid for 10 years. At year five, then the dad could go ahead and apply for naturalization for his citizenship. But let's say dad half a year in with his green card, or let's say for easier, a year in with his green card, falls in love with a U.S. citizen, gets married to this U.S. citizen, he doesn't have to wait those 5 years in order to file for naturalization. As long as he's married to that U.S. citizen for 3 years, and that U.S. citizen has been a U.S. citizen for those 3 years, and they've lived together, then dad could go ahead and, instead of waiting until 2030 to do his naturalization, dad could go ahead at probably 2028, 2029, whenever the 3 years is up for him to file naturalization. He could be naturalized sooner because that 5 year general provision does not apply to him because he has that U.S. citizen spouse. For those of you that have children and get married to a U.S. citizens after you get your green card, this may be an option for you. You could, again, possibly get that green card. I'm sorry, the naturalization, the citizenship faster if you're married to a U.S. citizen.
Yes,
Now, if you want to wait for 5 years, you also can, but why wait if you have that other option?
correct. There's a 3-year there's a 3-year rule and a 5-year rule. Okay, again, a lot of individuals assume, oh, I got my green card through my child. Now I have to wait 5 years to apply for citizenship. That's true, but if you've been married in after you have gotten your green card through your citizen child, if you marry a U.S. citizen and you've been living with him for 3 years, and he's been a citizen for 3 years, you don't have to wait 5 years. You can file that N-400 through your U.S. citizen spouse. Um, so that's just a little something we wanted. We will talk about more about that in the future, but it's just a little something we wanted to touch base with you guys on today. Okay. All right, Ellie. Anything else before we go? I feel like we had a really productive day in providing, our audience with some general AOS information. And please, all of you, get your questions ready for next week. Okay. All right. So, anything else before we go?
And that's it. I have an appointment in a few, so
So do I. All right,
busy
everyone.
day today.
Yeah. All right, everyone.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us. And if you have any further questions, feel free to post them, in our AOS Facebook group, and we'll get to you in there. Or if you want any further information on your personal case, feel free to book a Q&A or a consultation with us where we can really sit down one-on-one and give you some more information that pertains to your case only. Okay. All right, everyone. You have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you all next week. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.